Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is my next Focus On video. This time, the Legend of Nightmare Moon versus the actual battle of Celestia and Nightmare Moon. Oh dear, every time I try to do this video, I always get pulled off track by how I feel about Celestia and versus Nightmare Moon. So I'm gonna just say this out front. I think that Celestia was never being portrayed as the villain here. She's not a tyrant. She's just not being portrayed the way that the Brony community thinks that she's being portrayed. And I'm just tired of it because I almost feel that the Season 4 premiere was almost subtly saying to the Bronies, we're sorry, but you got it wrong. This was not easy for Celestia. Celestia didn't want to do this. She's simply doing what she has to do. And now I'm gonna stop those things and focus specifically on the analysis of the legend that we are presented in the storybook at the very first episode and what actually happened in the real battle in the Season 4 premiere. Because they are, in a way, very different. But at the same time, they actually do fall in line and they do sort of agree with each other. In general, what the storybook said actually happened. Luna refused to lower the moon. Celestia tried to negotiate with her and work it out, but she couldn't, and then she had to banish her to the moon. However, the actual battle didn't really happen that way, because it really was a battle. This wasn't just them sitting arguing in a room. It led to physical violence at one point. Now, what actually happened was that Luna comes out and basically says, I'm tired of ponies ignoring me and you getting all the attention. There's only going to be one princess in Equestria, and that princess will be me! It's my turn now. In a way is what Luna is saying, and oh dear. And then she raises the moon in direct opposition and rebellion against the day and Celestia. And unfortunately destroys the balance in Equestria, and this is why I think she gets turned into Nightmare Moon. The dark side can now take over her and use her for their own purposes. This is why I still think that when Luna is being turned into Nightmare Moon, she's going, oh my gosh, what have I done? No! The comics basically say that there's a third party here, and I like to say that third party is saying to her, you're mine now. Oh no, poor Luna, I must save you! I'm pretty sure that this is probably what Celestia is thinking. She's probably in shock to begin with, because like, oh my gosh, Luna, what's happened to you? No! I do have to say that what Celestia said was technically accurate to the legend, that she does try to quote-unquote work this out and negotiate with Nightmare Moon, but I do have to say that what she said was not exactly diplomatic. It's like, Luna, you must lower the moon! It is your duty! Oh, that might have worked on Luna, but it's not going to work on Nightmare Moon, and I think the short answer here is that this is not Luna anymore. This is Nightmare Moon. Luna's gone! No! It's like Nightmare Moon explicitly says, Luna, I'm Nightmare Moon. And unfortunately, the next thing that Nightmare Moon does is attempt to kill Celestia. Of course, you can't say the K word in a children's show, but whatever. But the next part is like, I don't really know what Celestia is trying to do. She's just trying to fly away, I guess, and just get away, because I guess she just doesn't know how to deal with this. It's like, my sister's been turned into this monster, and she's trying to kill me. What do I do? I guess probably what Celestia is probably thinking at this moment, and I stopped and looked through a couple of these images, and she's quite fearful, and understandably so. Her own sister is trying to murder her. If that's not something to be afraid of, I don't know what is. I first thought that Celestia might have been saved by that thing that she wears around her neck, but no, that's not the case. Nightmare Moon got a good clean shot on her chest. It's like, no, oh, Celestia, no. And then she falls hundreds of feet. Oh, no. Oh, poor Celestia. Oh, if Blue Star was here, he'd be devastated. It's like, no, the princess is dead! No! oh dear, and everything. So yeah, this was simply a lot more violent than the legend says. The legend just says it's like they almost the picture is just them just standing there, just sort of trying to work this out and talk it over. But that's not what happened. And again, I'm gonna say the reason for this is because I think they really wanted to show that Celestia doesn't have any choice here. This wasn't just simply a disagreement or an argument. It's like Nightmare Moon is trying to kill her. And that doesn't really leave Celestia with a lot of options. She has two choices, either do something or die. Ooh. But anyway, moving on from that, it's like, yeah, the next moment where Celestia picks herself up and everything, it's like, I definitely would like to know, what is Celestia thinking? What is she feeling? It's like, what's going through her mind in this moment? And I think it's that, I don't want to do this. I'm sorry, Luna, but you've given me no choice. I know what I have to do. Not just for myself, but for the whole of Equestria. And now she's just working up the courage and the strength and whatever she needs to go and do that. The whole next thing is like, she's crying. This is breaking her heart to do this. But she knows that she has to do this. Again, not only for herself, but for the whole of Equestria. If she doesn't do this, Nightmare Moon is going to take over. And then if that happens, Nightmare Moon will plunge all of Equestria into eternal darkness. And all the ponies are going to die from one thing or another. I think in a way the shortest way to describe this is a scene from Beast Wars. May I be forgiven for what I must do. And I'm sure that is probably what she's thinking when she's charging up the elements of harmony and going to zap her own sister and banish her to the moon. And oh dear, it's like, this is just simply breaking her heart to do this. But she did what she had to do. And I admire her very greatly for that. And maybe I'll go into more on that in a future video. Or maybe I won't. So the big difference between the two is obviously that what really happened was a lot more violent. This was an actual battle. Rather than in the storybook, it just felt like, oh, we're just sitting around and arguing in a room, and then it's like, well, Celestia had to like run, go get the elements of harmony, and then go zap her sister. Whereas what really happened was she had to go fight Nightmare Moon. The other big difference is that the legend is actually putting the blame on Celestia. Because it's like, I tried to work this out with my sister, but I couldn't. And the only thing I could do was go and banish her to the moon. And I think the reason this might be is because Celestia might be trying to spin it that way. She, in a way, wants to put the blame on herself. She doesn't want ponies to blame Luna. She doesn't want them to hate her. Because it's an interesting problem of which would be the worst thing to say to the ponies after this happened. The legend says, oh, me and Luna had a disagreement. She refused to lower the moon, and I tried to work this out with her. I really did, but I couldn't do that, and the only thing I could do in the end was banish her to the moon. I'm very sorry for that, but I did what I had to do. As opposed to what really happened, which was basically, my sister refused to lower the moon, and then she turned to the dark side and turned into a monster that tried to murder me, and I had no choice but to banish her to the moon. I'm very sorry, I did what I had to do. That's difficult. I mean, I personally think the first one is definitely nicer to Luna. The second one is definitely much more hostile to Luna. I must admit, yeah, that the second part I deliberately spin a little bit so that, yeah, it's emphasizing the fact that Nightmare Moon was trying to kill Celestia. That's a completely different deal than, oh, I simply had a disagreement with her. This first part is just, it's really downplaying this a lot more than it really happened. Because the second part was a lot more severe. It's a lot more difficult because there was a lot more serious actions there. Luna isn't just simply disagreeing with her sister or saying, no, I won't do this. She's flat rebelling against Celestia. And unfortunately, there comes some serious consequences with that. And not to mention that she's trying to murder her own sister. I don't think the ponies would have taken that very well. They would have been angry at Luna for all of that. I do think that Celestia, in a way, is trying to spin this in a way that doesn't paint Luna as this big, scary, monstrous villain that, in a way, she kind of was. Because at the end of the day, Celestia loves her sister. And Luna loves Celestia. But I do feel that the reason that this battle was such more violent as an actual battle rather than just two characters arguing and disagreeing about something is to subtly say to the bronies, we're sorry, you got it wrong. We didn't want Celestia to be the villain here. This was just a difficult situation that she had to go deal with. And at the end of the day, we just want them to be sisters. It would have been interesting. Would this have been portrayed this way if the bronies basically hadn't had this reaction, shall we say, to Celestia and basically blaming her for all of this? Would this have happened this way? I honestly feel no, it wouldn't have. It would have happened maybe a little bit differently or something. I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm gonna end this video now because I just can't stay on topic and on track with this anymore because, like, these princesses mean a lot to me. I respect them and I admire them. This is why I would want to defend them and everything, because they're so cool and they're so awesome, because they have such great character and everything. And I would almost like to say that the other reason why these two things are different is because Celestia wants to spin this in a way so that when Luna does come back, the ponies won't hate her and won't look at her as this horrible monster, but will simply be willing to accept her back. And she does this because she loves Luna, and Luna loves her. And I think in a way that might be the way to end this video, that at the end of the day, both of these princesses were able to forgive and forget and just be sisters again. And I think in the end, that's all they've ever wanted. So that is the end of my video on The Legend of Nightmare Moon versus the Battle of Celestia and Nightmare Moon. This is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.